Everyone, and welcome to today's video. This is a B2-level ESL writing lesson. Today we're going to be writing a travel blog. You'll be learning how to use descriptive adjectives and other descriptive language. So Guatemala, have you ever heard of Guatemala, and why do you think tourists go there? So here's some information about Guatemala. The capital is Guatemala City. The official language is Spanish. It's 42,042 square miles, or 108,889 square kilometers. The population is 17.3 million, and the currency is the quetzal. So Suri and Greta went on a backpacking trip. Suri is going to describe their trip to Guatemala. Which of these things would you mention? The weather, arriving at the airport, the buildings and architecture, the jungle and its animals, shopping for souvenirs, and Guatemalan food. And what other things could Shuri mention? And you can put your ideas in the comments. Now, what other things could Suri mention? 6 words are missing from the text. And what kinds of words can fit in the spaces? A few years ago, I went on a 10-day backpacking trip around Guatemala with my friend Greta. We'd arranged to be picked up at the Guatemala City airport, and we were very blank when we found out that our blank driver was waiting for us. He took us to a blank city called Antigua, which was about an hour away from Guatemala City. Our driver spoke blank English, and it was very blank, giving us lots of blank information about our first destination. So even though we might not know exactly which words go in those blanks for right now, most of these are going to be adjectives or descriptive words. Alright, now you're going to skim the first paragraph of Suri's blog post and answer the questions. Again, when we skim, we don't really read every single word. Usually skimming is best for looking at the questions first and then reading quickly to find the answers. So what kind of information would the driver give to the travelers? It just says useful information about the final destination. And have you ever been picked up at a station or airport? And you can answer that in the comments. You usually find adjectives before nouns or after the verb be. Adjectives tell us about the size, shape, age, form, or some other quality. So adjectives make you interesting, and it's a good idea to learn as many as possible. Now that your English is improving, it's time to learn new adjectives. It's also a great idea to start avoiding certain adjectives. From now on, try to avoid using words like big, small, good, bad, and nice, and start using more interesting words. On the following slides, you will meet these adjectives: cobbled, beautifully preserved, colonial, spectacular, local, welcoming, patient, encouraging, traditional, perfect, clear, and warm. Which adjectives can describe the buildings and architecture, the people, the weather, and the food? And again, you can put your ideas in the comments. Now read the second paragraph and answer the questions. You can pause the video and read on your own, or you can follow along as I read. Antigua is a lovely city with cobbled streets and beautifully preserved and restored colonial architecture. The setting is pretty spectacular too, since Antigua is surrounded by volcanoes. We found the local people to be very warm and welcoming, and they were very patient and encouraging when we found it hard to communicate. We spent several days just wandering the streets and sampling some traditional Guatemalan food. The weather was perfect, with clear blue skies and warm sunshine. All too soon, it was time to move on to our second destination, Flores. So see if you can find all the adjectives in this text, which adjectives come after be, and which adjectives before a noun. And you can pause the video, try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, so we have lovely, cobbled, preserved, restored, colonial, spectacular, warm, welcoming, patient, encouraging, traditional and Guatemalan, perfect, clear blue, warm, all right, so lovely that comes before a noun, cobbled before a noun, preserved, restored, and colonial all come before the noun architecture. Spectacular comes after the to be verb is. Actually, surrounded would be another one that is followed. It follows the to be verb is. Local is actually another one that I missed. That describes the noun people. Warm and welcoming are also describing the people, or actually, that those two come after the verb to be. Patient and encouraging, again, were is a form of the to be verb. And then let's see, traditional and Guatemalan are both coming before the noun food. Perfect comes after the to be verb. Clear and blue come before the noun skies. And warm comes before the noun sunshine. And then second is actually an adjective describing the noun destination. Alright, so you've encountered a lot of adjectives. Complete the sentences using an adjective provided, or choose your own adjective. You can pause the video, try this on your own, and then restart when you're ready to see my answers. Your answers could be different, but I'll give you some examples. If you walk through the old part of Sydney, you will see many maybe traditional buildings that were constructed in the late 18th century. Actually, no, probably colonial would go better there. Sorry about that. Colonial buildings. And then number 2 would be traditional. Traditional Italian food contains very little meat. Many people are surprised to learn this. Janet found the perfect bookstore on 7th Avenue. The salespeople were maybe enthusiastic and friendly, or enthusiastic and friendly, or warm and friendly. We'll say warm and friendly. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Doha all contain examples of traditional architecture. In large cities, public transport is a spectacular way to get around. The sea was warm and welcoming. It didn't feel cold at all. Unfortunately, the hotel staff wasn't friendly. I was disappointed. And you might have other answers that could work, but those are just some suggestions. So now write some sentences about your own city, and each sentence should contain at least one adjective. What can you say about the architecture? What is the weather like at the moment? Describe an interesting feature about your city that many people don't know. How do you describe the people in your city? And write a sentence about a food that every visitor should try. Now read the final paragraph of Suri's blog post and answer the questions. You can pause the video and read on your own, or you can follow along as I read. Getting to Flores involved an overnight bus ride from Guatemala City. The only difficulty we had was with the air conditioning. The bus was absolutely freezing. We didn't get any sleep, so when we finally made it to Flores, we just collapsed for the rest of the day. The next day, we went on a day trip to Tikal, which is a complex of ancient Mayan ruins in the Guatemalan rainforest. We got there shortly after sunrise and climbed to the top of one of the pyramids. The views were absolutely breathtaking. The combination of rainforest and ruins in the early morning light was stunning. And we could hear howler monkeys in the jungle. Our experience was magical. So which word means a group of buildings? That would be complex. Which word refers to the joining of two or more things? Combination. Which word in the text can be replaced with a little while? Shortly. And why couldn't they sleep on the bus? Because it was freezing. So what adjectives did Suri use to describe A through D? A bus journey, the Mayan ruins, the view, and the whole experience. So she described the whole experience as magical. It was an overnight bus journey. Number 3, the Mayan ruins were ancient. Number 4, the view was stunning. Number 5, the view was breathtaking. And number 6, the bus journey was freezing. All right, the final destination was Chichicastenango. So listen to Greta talk about the final days of your trip. Just a note that this recording is long and detailed. Don't try to hear every word. Instead, listen for specific information that you need to answer the questions. And if it helps to take notes, it does help to take notes as you listen. Sorry. but she did mention a lengthy bus ride, an isolated village, a sleepy little place, clothes, fresh produce and textiles, a fantastic cultural experience, hand painted masks, and a great way to finish the trip. Alright, we're going to listen to the first half of the recording again and answer the questions. Alright, the market makes Chi Chi burst into life twice a week. When did they get up to explore the town? Early on Sunday. Greta talks about the hordes of people that arrived, and Greta describes the market as bustling, hectic, and chaotic. Now we're going to listen to the rest of the recording and answer the questions, and these will be true or false questions. Alright, so the people selling things at the market were pushy and persistent. That was true. It was impossible to leave the market without buying something. That was true. Greta bought a gorgeous hand-woven bag. That was true. Suri bought several hand-painted cups. That's false. They were hand-painted masks. And the entire experience was an adventure. That was true. Alright, so now you can pause the video and then set a timer for 1 minute and see how many adjectives you can find. And then restart the video when you're ready to continue. Okay, the adjectives are awesome, first, colorful, different, handmade, peaceful, packed, bustling, hectic, chaotic, fantastic, cultural, overwhelmed, friendly, pushy, persistent, exhausting, I would call impossible also. They don't have that one marked, but I think impossible could be considered an adjective in this context. Um, Empty handed, gorgeous, hand woven, faint hearted, and great. So, write about your experience in Tasmania. You visited Tasmania and write notes about the places you visited: Port Arthur, Cradle Mountain, Horseshoe Falls, the Bay of Fires, and the Tasmanian Devil. And now organize your notes. Where did you go? Who did you go with? How did you get there? Where did you stay? How were the local people? What was the food like? And how was the overall experience? And then, if you'd like some feedback, you can write your first draft and post it in the comments. And so other students can provide you with some feedback on your writing, or feel free to comment on the writing of others. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, participate in the comments, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.